बहुत बार अव्यक्त मुरली का पहला पैराग्राफ जो है
in the Sakar Murli blessing or Avyak Murli, where Baba just makes you feel so great. He just uplifts you, elevates you, praises you so much, and suddenly, you know, everything comes into perspective. That you're here for this great task.
आप जो है बहुत स्पेशल काम के लिए यहाँ पर हो, देवता बनने के लिए यहाँ पर हम सभी हैं।
Just very heartwarming. So in terms of the good feeling of love, it's when Baba really uplifts me.
प्यार की जो अनुभव जो है बाबा मुझे ऊंचा उठाता है, आप सभी को, हम ही नहीं, आप सभी को भी ऊंचा उठाता है बाबा का प्यार जो है।
Thanks a lot. And what about you, Enrique?
Om Shanti.
उनके अनुभव पूछ रहे हैं।
I was thinking that for me,
मेरे लिए जो है मैं सोच रहा हूँ,
this is a university of love. In fact, Baba is teaching us how to love.
कैसे प्यार करना है बाबा सिखाता है, ये प्यार की विद्यालय है।
There is a need of training.
यहाँ पर ट्रेनिंग हम लोगों को दी जाती है। बहुत बड़ी विशेषता जो है यहाँ पर मैं क्यों हूँ, ये लक्ष्य को बहुत क्लियर होना है। बाबा हमेशा हमेशा हम लोगों को याद दिलाते हैं श्रेष्ठ श्रेष्ठ बाबा हम लोगों को विचारधारा देते हैं।
And the teachers that will come in this training, sometimes they will be very direct or strict or whatever.
कभी-कभी टीचर जो हैं डायरेक्ट बोलते हैं, कभी-कभी स्ट्रिक्टली बोलते हैं।
Because I remember
जब हम ट्रेन में पास हो जाते हैं तो जब वो इंजीनियर क्लास में पढ़ रहे थे, सेकेंड ईयर में पढ़ रहे थे, तो अपने आप से पूछ रहे थे, इंजीनियर क्लास में वो अपने आप से पूछ रहे थे, मैं क्यों यहाँ पढ़ूँ, मुझे इंजीनियर बनने का लक्ष्य नहीं था। उनके माता पिता और इनके गुरु इनको ये चाहते थे इंजीनियर बने, लेकिन इनको नहीं पसंद था। आपको इच्छा नहीं है तो पढ़ाई छोड़ दो। क्लियर लक्ष्य होना है कि मैं यहाँ क्यों हूँ, बाबा मुझे मदद करता है, बाबा मुझे ट्रेनिंग देता है। ये मेरे लिए बहुत ही ज़रूरी पॉइंट है। बाबा मुझे जो है शिक्षा देता है, अलग अलग तरीके से शिक्षा देता है। कुछ सीनियर से कुछ ऐसा ट्रेनिंग मिला जो प्यार के विषय में। जयंती दीदी आदि से आप बहुत नज़दीक हो, कुछ बारे में आपको जो ट्रेनिंग के रूप में बताया होगा, सिखाया होगा, आपको प्यार का अनुभव हुआ होगा। अलग अनुभव है दादी जानकी के साथ में। दादी जानकी से बहुत नज़दीक में मैं हूँ। दादी बोलती थी आप मेरे दोस्त हो। दादी जो है बहुत रिगार्ड देकर हर संबंधों से दादी रिगार्ड देती है। दादी खुद स्ट्रिक्ट भी होती है, लेकिन पर्सनल लेवल पर जो है दादी जो है बहुत, ये जो है दादी के साथ बहुत ओपन रहती है। चिनाटिया शिरे बोल दादी हमें चिनाटिया शिरे। दादी डिलोलो सब हाथों अंगुलियों के साथ में सौंपिया छपी रहे। दादी का शिक्षा जो है मुझे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग बना देता है। मुझे लौटे सही श्यालो लगते हैं, नम्रता आपसे आलो लगते हैं संबंधों में।
patience.
और भी धैर्य
So I
और
felt
भी
constantly
जनाज़या।
her love. Even when she was strict with me,
जब
I
दादी
remember
मेरी
once she was saying to me,
दादी
"Don't be strict. Don't." She was very strict with me. She was saying, "Don't be strict. Don't be strict with the others." I said, "No, I'm not strict. No." So,
दादी
but
खुद
I
मेरे
never
से
felt
स्ट्रिक्ट
bad.
हुई थी
I
और
always
मुझे ही
felt that
बोल
she
रही
was
थी कि तुम
doing
स्ट्रिक्ट
me
नहीं
a
हो
lot of
दूसरों
love
के साथ में।
because she had a elevated vision of myself. I
दीदी
felt this.
दीदी
She
दादी
wanted the
जो है
best
इनके
for
प्रति
me.
में बहुत श्रेष्ठ
So
विचार था, इसलिए
when you
इनको
want the
अच्छा
best for
लगा।
another person and you love them, you will sometimes you will treat them with a little bit of strength so
जब
that you
प्यार
make
होता
them
है, किसी
strong
को ऊंचा उठाना
because you
चाहते हैं
want
तो कभी कभी
that for
स्ट्रिक्ट
them.
होकर भी बोलते हैं।
That's great. It's a wonderful experience. I remember once that Janki was in Colombia.
दादी
She was
जन की
for a
जब
retreat
कोलंबिया
there,
में थी तो इनको
and
याद
she
है
gave me drishti for, I don't know, 10 minutes.
दादी ने इनको 10-15 मिनट दृष्टि दिया,
And
याद
it
नहीं है
was
कितना।
silent,
बहुत
love,
साइलेंस, बहुत
which
प्यार,
was
बहुत
amazing.
प्योरिटी से, बहुत ही
And Aruna Ben, you said
आश्चर्य,
that
मतलब प्यार
we
भरा
need
था दृष्टि।
Avyakt Murli. And that's true, I think, for all of us, even the Avyakt Murli today. The first paragraph or the first paragraphs, Baba really uplifts us. But I know also the singers give that to you too. Many times they really uplift you.
बड़ी
And
जो
one
है
thing
हम
that many
हमेशा
of you
हम लोगों
know,
को ऊंचा
she
उठाती
conducts
है।
a series of classes by Sister Jent. I think it's still there every week with us.
जयंती दीदी हर
And one
वीक
of the
जो
parts
है
I liked
मुरली को
most
रिवाइज
was when she
कराती थी।
shared stories. When Aruna Ben shared some stories. So could you share some moment when you really felt uplifted by that soul, no matter how, but you really felt uplifted by Dadi Janki, Jayanti
दादी
Guru,
जानकी या
Mother
जयंती
Ji?
दीदी के साथ जो भी उन लोगों ने आपको ऊंचा उठाने के लिए
Also, I'll add to
जो
the
भी कुछ
training,
बातें याद हो
training
तो
of
बताना।
love question as well. Yeah, so many stories really.
बहुत सारी
Let's begin with
यादगार है, याद बातें हैं,
as some of you
कहानियाँ
may
हैं
know,
उन
I
लोगों के
came
साथ
into
में।
Gyan very young,
बहुत ज्ञान में बहुत
quite
छोटी थे
young,
उस समय,
and
बहुत छोटी थी उस समय।
so I was growing up in Gyan as a teenager.
ज्ञान में धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़
And
रही
then I
थी,
surrendered onto
युवा
the
अवस्था
center
में
when I was
पहुंच गई थी,
17.
ज्ञान में आगे चलती।
But then
17
when I
साल
was
की उम्र
19,
थी।
20, I felt like, well, it's better to go out and work and earn your own money and be
जो
independent.
19-20 साल की
You
उम्र
don't
में
want to
बाहर
ask
जाना
anyone
चाहती
for
थी,
anything.
पैसा कमाना चाहती थी,
So
कुछ
at
बाहर
that
की
point,
दुनिया
I
में
said to
जाके
Daddy, I want to go out and work.
हम बाहर
And of
काम
course,
के
by
लिए
then
जाना
I was
चाहते।
also
दादी
quite
जानकी को
involved in
मैंने
the
बोला।
office. So then Daddy says, what do you want? What do you
दादी
want?
ने
Tell me,
बोला,
what do you want?
क्या तुम चाहती हो, बोलो मुझे।
And she goes, you want money, no? You want money?
तो पैसा चाहिए, आपको
And
पैसा
of course
चाहिए।
I didn't respond, but yes, she's right. At the end, it's about money. She doesn't
पैसा
understand
कमाना
financial
चाहते हो
freedom,
तो
but
क्या,
she understands money.
तो पैसा कमाना चाहते हो, उनसे
So
पूछ रही थी।
next day, she gave me a big wad of envelope
दिन
with
में
money, and she said, "Here's the money."
दादी ने
And
लिफाफा में बहुत सारा
she goes,
पैसा
"Anything
डाल
else
के
you
दिया
want?"
कि जो लो पैसा यहाँ पे, और कुछ चाहिए
And
तुमको।
I mean,
लिफाफा में
of course
पैसा
there
भर
was
के दादी ने दे
abundance of
दिया, लो
everything
पैसा,
at
और क्या
Baba's
चाहिए
house,
तुमको।
and she didn't want us to feel that we were lacking in any way, and we weren't. I mean, there was abundance of love
कुछ बातों
from
का कमी
Dadi,
नहीं होना
and of
चाहती
course
है।
a lot of siksha teachings, we say, at every step.
हर कदम में
And just a
दादियों
lot
की
of comfort.
शिक्षा
So there
मिलती,
wasn't really anything
बहुत सारा
missing.
असीम चिमूरे या
Then I
शिविर।
realized what was missing was my own effort, that I was not willing to make
खुद
the
का
effort.
पुरुषार्थ
That's
भी
why I
होता
wanted to
है।
run away. So once that clicked, that I'm in the right place, this is what I need to do.
ये मैं
And
सही स्थान पर
that's
हूँ,
why I'm
जो
still here,
जो
because
जो
everything that comes my way is a training.
हर
In
चीज़
terms
जो
of
है
training
ट्रेनिंग के
of
द्वारा बहुत
love,
कुछ मिलता
let me
है।
share a couple of stories where again
और
it was just
एक
here in
कहानी है।
Dadi's cottage. So we were bringing Dadi to the hall, and then this
दादी को हॉल
person
में लेकर आ
came,
रहे थे, दादी कॉटेज में से यहाँ पर।
little elderly, not so much, but he was walking slowly, and he had to give an envelope to Dadi. And
एक
Dadi
बूढ़े
was just
व्यक्ति थे,
out,
दादी को
almost out of Dadi's cottage, and
दादी को एनवलप
Dadi
दे रहे
saw
थे,
him,
पैसा
and he
इलिमा
wants to give the envelope.
ठेबियो पीन रहे।
But then Dadi says, "Come." So she turned around, did a U-turn, went back into her cottage, sat down. And you know how Dadi was so frail, like 10, 15 years ago. And so
15
for her
साल
to go
पहले
back, to sit down,
दादी
then she
ठाई
just
खाई
gave
है
him
तो
loving drishti and then
दादी
took his envelope.
दादी का उन्होंने दृष्टि पीरे
Nothing,
पिलोशन
just
ऐसा
Tony
एगो
and blessing
जाजुरे
extra.
टोडी
But she
टोडी
could have done that
प्लेसन
at the
पीरे
door, right? But she said no. Afterwards, she said no. Everything. She uses this word, vidhi purvak, which means everything according to the right method.
मतलब कि ऐसे ही नहीं रास्ता में चलती साज लाइक ऐसा नहीं
Vidhi purvak.
ऐसा नहीं कि रास्ता चलते लिफाफा ले लिया उनको बिठा के दृष्टि दिया टोली दिया फिर उनसे यज्ञ सेवा का स्वीकार किया
his envelope, but she went, sat down, gave him that moment, his moment of drishti, and of course we are all wanting Daddy to rush and come out, and so that was also very beautiful.
वो भी बहुत अच्छा एक
And then I
अनुभव देखा
remember the times in Baba Bhavan in London
बाबा
when
भवन लंदन में
the
भी
way
इन्होंने
she would
देखा
remember different souls. She'd
दादी
say they
अलग
are
अलग
not here.
आत्माओं को
Oh,
याद
then
करते
why aren't
थे
they here yet? Let's wait
उनको
for them.
उनको याद
Let's
करते
wait
क्यों
for
नहीं
them
वो
to
लोग
eat.
यहाँ पे फ़ोन करो उनको
Or save this piece of toli for them. Let's save
उनके
this
लिए
fruit for them.
उनके लिए
I
टोली
mean,
दो
it looks
उनके
like
लिए ये फल दो
small actions, small
छोटी
deeds,
छोटी
but
बातों भी दादी ख्याल
it
रखती
means a
थी
lot for that person. That
वो
Dadi
वो
remembered
व्यक्तियों के लिए
them
बहुत बड़ी बात होती
at the
थी
right time. And then
सही
there's
समय
another
पर
incident where
और एक जो
both the
बात है
girl
उनको
and
जो
the
याद है
boy were in Gyan, and I happened to be there. This was again in Indraprasth,
इंद्र
Pandava.
पांडव इंद्रप्रस्थ
And
में
so they came together, and
भाई
I was
बहन
just
दोनों साथ
hanging
में आ
around.
रही थी
And they sat down, and they announced to Dadi that they're getting married.
उनको शादी करना है वो
And so Dadi doesn't get shocked, but she does this with her
चर्चाले
eyes,
मेघले
right?
ने आवला
She,
दादी
like,
सिलावे तो
her
लठा
eyes go
छने
wide.
सो बिरो
And so it was just for a split moment where Dadi's eyes went wide.
दादी की आंखें
Because
बड़ी हो
she was
गई
trying to register this shock, that they're getting married. And she immediately turned it around in her head. And then she said to Hansa,
हंसा जी को दादी ने
bring the
बोला
towels, bring the bed sheets, bring this gift, because now they've made their decision. So then Dadi just loaded them up with so many gifts.
उन्होंने
And
निर्णय
again,
ले
these,
चुके थे तो
when we
दादी
see
ने उनको
these
तावल
scenes,
बेडशीट
it
सब
teaches
कुछ
us
बहुत
of
सारा
how we
दे रहे
need
थे
to
क्योंकि
be
वो तो निर्णय ले
with
चुके थे
souls that they've made their decision. The only way is with love. And something again yesterday that Sister Mohini was saying, that if a soul wanted to leave Gyan, then
जो
Baba
आत्माएं
would
ज्ञान को
give them
छोड़
so
के
much love.
ज्ञान को छोड़कर
So that
जाना
at least
चाहते
they
थे बाबा
wouldn't
उनको
turn
और भी प्यार
anti.
देते थे
And
क्योंकि
so
वो
yeah,
फिर
they had
उल्टा
their
बाबा के कार्य
decision.
में फिर मतलब
That's
विघ्न
wonderful.
नहीं
Very,
बनते हैं
very nice example. I hope you are relating to what they are saying. I hope you are feeling that. And at the end, we have question and answer. So if you can think about the question, okay, so you can ask for a few minutes.
थोड़े
But
समय
I'll
के
take
लिए आप
something
लोग कुछ
from Arun
पूछ
in the
भी
West
सकते हैं कोई भी
in
कुछ
Greek
पूछना हो
about
तो
that. If you had to give love to someone who was making the wrong decision,
कोई गलत निर्णय
or
लेता है तो
someone
आप
who
जो है
was doing, creating some problem,
कोई
can
जो
you
है
just
कुछ प्रॉब्लम
explain
को
how?
बना
You
रहा
don't
है
need to say names, but you can say how you did that.
कोई प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहा है प्रॉब्लम के कारण बन रहा है तो
Comes
आप
to my
कैसे
mind a
करोगे
situation that I lived in Seville, in the south of Spain, when I was there coordinating the center many years back, maybe
बहुत साल पहले की बात है
25 years. There
25
was a
साल
brother,
पहले की
he's
बात है
still
एक
around
भाई था
in one way or another. He was a little bit mentally,
उसका दिमाग जो है पूरा पूरा बहुत अच्छा नहीं
but
था
he was against me.
वो
He
पूरा
told me
इनके
this later.
ऑपोजिट में थे
He had
विरोधी थे
what was the name in English? Celos? Jealousy, no?
इनके
And
साथ
he was
जलन
very
था
strange, with
उनको
a very strange drishti. So
अलग सा
he
उनका
was doing
दृष्टिकोण था
really very strange things and bad things. And then I remember when Murli Baba said,
एक बार
"Give
मुरली बाबा ने
blessings
कहा
to
था
the
कि
souls who are doing
हर
something
आत्मा
wrong,
को
have good
आप
wishes."
दृष्टि
So
दो
he was coming to the Murli.
मुरली में भर आते थे वो
And I was visualizing him all the time through many years, many days,
मैं बहुत
putting
दिनों से उनको
crown, putting garlands, saying you're a wonderful soul.
तो
You're
आप
Christy,
उधर
wonderful."
इनकी माला पहना रही है, मुकुट डाल रही है, ये इमर्ज करते थे वो आत्मा को भी बहुत अच्छी आत्मा हो, बहुत अच्छी आत्मा हो, उनको ऐसा वो इमर्ज करके पावर देते थे।
So he changed his mind completely. It was not in one day.
एक दिन में नहीं हुआ, लेकिन बहुत महीनों के बाद में वो ऐसा उनका भावना देते देते ऐसा इमर्ज करते थे कि आप श्रेष्ठ आत्मा वो धीरे धीरे बदल गया। बहुत सुंदर सुंदर मालाएं और बहुत सुंदर मुकुट पहना के आप श्रेष्ठ आत्मा हो, ऐसा करके और श्रेष्ठ दृष्टिकोण वो रखते थे उनके ऊपर, तो वो आत्मा जो है बदल गई।
But I would like to share another experience of love from Daddy Janki. It came to my mind.
एक और एक दादी जानकी के साथ अनुभव इनके बुद्धि में आ रहा है, मन में आ रहा है कि
And when I started in Gyan, I started with my daughter. She was 8 years old.
8 साल की उम्र में इनकी बच्ची थी, उनके साथ में ज्ञान शुरू किया। इनकी बच्ची 8 साल की उम्र।
After 1 year, Daddy came to Spain.
एक साल बाद में दादी स्पेन में आई इनके पास में।
My daughter was close to me.
दादी टोली दे रही थी, इनकी बच्ची इनके नजदीक में थी।
And then when we arrived in front of Daddy, my daughter hung to me like this, very strongly, no, like this. And
दादी के नजदीक पहुंची
Daddy
तो
will see my daughter, the attachment that they have to me.
तो इनके बच्ची ने इनको बहुत जोर से पकड़ा था, तो इन्होंने देखा कि
you have attachment to your father, and I said, oh no, now she has.
इनको लगा कि इनके दादी ने पूछा कि तुम्हें अपने पिता से अटैचमेंट है, तुम्हें अपने पिता से अटैचमेंट होना है, ऐसा दादी ने बोला। जब आपको अपनी बच्ची के पिता का याद आए तो अपने शिव बाबा को याद करना। इनको मन में तो अभी थोड़े दिनों के बाद में उनकी बच्ची ने शादी किया, बच्चे भी है। जब मैं आपको याद करती हूँ तो मुझे बाबा याद है। दादी को भविष्य मालूम था कि इनको सही हुआ, उनको निनापूर्ण रह कि दादी बोलेगी कि ये इसके बच्ची का इनके साथ बहुत अटैचमेंट है, इसलिए ये पकड़ के रखी है। लेकिन दादी ने बोला कि बच्ची से पूछ लिया तुम्हारा बहुत अटैचमेंट है। बाबा जो है बहुत गुप्त रीति से है।
Eventually he left Baba, got married with someone, and he just had a child last year. And he came to the
बाबा को छोड़ दिया, बच्चे भी हो गए। उनका एक भाई के बारे में वो बता रही है।
Like, not fear, but well, it was the first time he came after get married.
शादी के बाद में, बच्चों के बाद में पहली बार वो यहाँ पर आए।
So much love. So at the end he was happy, and he knows the house is open for him, the doors are open to that.
तो खुश है, लेकिन उनको मालूम है कि बाबा का घर उनके लिए खुला है।
And you know what? He was talking about his granddaughter, his brother also. His brother is there, in fact. He's sitting there. His Lokik brother. They both live in the
भाई वहाँ पर बैठे हैं।
And Aruna Ben, she also has 2 sisters in Gyan.
इनके अरुणा बहन को भी 2 बहन ज्ञान में है। जसू बहन नीमू बहन भी इनको बहन है ना, नीमू बहन भी। वो सेंटर बहुत सुंदर तरीका से संभाल करती है।
With Lokik people there, your sisters there, you know, hey, she didn't wake up for a meditation, no, something like that. How was the love experience in that?
कैसे प्यार जो है वो अनुभव होता है कि हाँ अमृत बना उठो, ये करो।
We were growing up.
जब हम लोग बड़े हो रहे थे,
not literally fight, but arguments.
वाद विवाद आपस में तो होती ही है जब बड़े होते हैं। माता फिर बोलेगी तुम ऐसा नहीं करो, ऐसा करो। मम्मी जो है बोलती है।
So when we then came into Gyan, it was difficult to give respect.
जब ज्ञान
we
में
were so
आई तो
used to calling each other our nicknames that it was really difficult to say Jasu Ben. In fact, it's not even Jasu. I won't say her nickname, but she has a nickname. My other sister has a
बचपन
nickname.
का नाम सबका बचपन का
So we
नाम
used to
होता
use
है, तो
that.
उस
So
समय
even
जस्सू
to
बहन
say
बोलना
Jasu is
मुश्किल
respect,
होता था।
actually. And then to say Jasu Ben is more respectful.
जस्सू बहन बोली, उनका बहन का
So
नाम
a
जस्सू
couple
है,
of years after
तो
coming into
उसकी
Gyan,
बहन के नाम से
I was
ऐसा
still
बोलना
under
मुश्किल
20,
होता था।
but
बचपन के नामों से एक
I
दूसरे को
clicked,
पुकारते थे।
it clicked to me that when I give respect,
तो उनको ये
it's
अनुभव
saying
हुआ कि
more
अगर
about
हम
me
दूसरों को
than
रिस्पेक्ट
it
देते
is
हैं
about
तो
them.
जैसा हम
And
देंगे
so
वैसा
that's why then
उनको
I
भी
started
अनुभव
to
होता है,
give respect.
वो
And
भी
I
आपको
kind of
फिर
applied
रिस्पेक्ट
that
देते हैं।
analogy to other people who are not my relatives or lockets, that
कोई
it
हमारा
doesn't hurt to
संबंधी
give
नहीं है
respect.
या लौकिक नहीं है,
And
अगर
you
हम
are
उनको भी
greater when you give respect. So
आप
don't
दूसरों को
watch
रिस्पेक्ट
to
देते
see
हैं
whether
तो
they
भी
are respect worthy or not, but just do it because that makes you great.
वो जो है
And then of
आपको बड़ा
course, yeah,
बनाता है।
growing
अगर
up
आप
in
किसी को
Gyan,
इज्जत मान देते हो
it's a
तो वो
good
आपको बड़ा
thing
बनाता
that
है।
we all have knowledge. So you mentioned my siblings, but my parents were also in Gyan.
हम
So
इनके
my
माता पिता भी
mother
ज्ञान में ही
passed
है।
away in 2002,
2002 में
and my
इनके
father
माँ
just
ने
passed away
शरीर
2
छोड़ा।
weeks ago.
दो
And because he
हफ्ता
was in
पहले
Gyan,
इनके
because
पिता
we
ने
are
ज्ञान
in
में
Gyan,
शरीर
it
छोड़ा।
really
2 हफ्ता पहले
helps
इनके
to
पिता ने भी शरीर छोड़ा।
understand death and to understand the blessings that the soul carries. And of
आत्माएं
course,
जो
he's
है
a
अपने
father,
अपने
and
वरदान
mothers and
लेकर
fathers
जाते
are a
हैं।
great test, I feel, for us because they really did nurture us, nourish us, brought us up. It's a very
बहुत अच्छे से
intimate
पालन
relationship
पोषण
with
करके
parents,
हम
and they
लोगों
taught
के
us a
साथ में
lot,
बहुत अच्छा
right, as to
संबंध
how
भी
to
होता
be,
है,
how to eat, how to walk, all of those very
कैसे खाना कैसे पीना
important
सब
things.
सिखाते हैं ना।
But as I said, if it wasn't for the knowledge and of course the application of knowledge, it would be very difficult to kind of mourn the loss of a parent. So even when my mother passed away, I was surprised because I am the youngest, and
ये
I
सबसे
was
छोटी थी तो
the
माँ
most attached to my
माँ
mother.
शरीर
And I
छोड़ा
thought when my
2002
mom
में,
goes,
तो
she's going to be my
बहुत
biggest test.
सरप्राइज हुई क्योंकि ये सबसे
At
छोटी
that
थी,
time also
अटैचमेंट
I
ज़्यादा
was
थी माँ के
okay,
साथ में।
and just seeing her as a soul. And
आत्मा के रूप
so
में देखना, ये
really
सब
this
ऐसा
makes me
अनुभव
feel
करती थी।
keep doing more of the same, keep doing more of this practice, and we will
और भी अभ्यास
kind of
करने
learn
लगी
detachment
अटैचमेंट का
and love.
लगाव मुक्त के
Not
लिए,
just
और अभ्यास
detachment, but
करने
how
लगी
to love, but then how to detach
कैसे
when
प्यार
we need
करना
to.
है, कैसे न्यारा होना है, इस बात का वो अभ्यास करती थी।
Still you, what about someone you don't like? What about someone that has created a big issue, big problem? Enrique was sharing his part. How do you feel that love? Is it different than someone you like, someone who is
You mean
helpful?
I feel love for them,
Yeah.
or I feel their love?
Okay, either of them.
किसी
Well,
के
there
किस
was
बात को
I
आप
would
जो
say a
है
big situation
आपको अच्छा नहीं
some
लगता
years
है।
ago where I was in one country
एक देश में वो
and I
गए थे,
actually wanted to open a center.
तो
And
सेंटर का
this
खोला
sister
था उस
didn't
समय।
want me to open the center because she felt that I was competition for her.
तो
Yeah.
सेंटर
So
खोलने के लिए वो नहीं
anyway, I
चाहते थे,
put
कि
all
उनको
this
ये
to
लगता था कि दीदी
Daddy
जो है
that,
उनके साथ
I'm happy to
प्याइने
open a center and
रहो
all
ना,
this.
अलग बैठे ना।
And Daddy said, okay, leave that
एक
country
बहन का
and
दीदी
can
वो
you
अलग
go
उठे
where
ना,
I tell you to go? I said, okay. So then I went to the next country.
तो दूसरे देश में गई फिर सेंटर
And
खोलने
again, the
के लिए।
next country was wonderful, and I loved it, and I still love it today. And I learned a lot. It made me grow, and everything was great.
वहाँ सब
Then a
कुछ
few
बहुत
years
अच्छा।
later, that
आज
sister
तक
met
भी
me
वो
in
संबंध
Madhuban, in Pandavan,
पांडवों में मिले,
and she
मधुबन में मिले।
profusely apologized.
उन्होंने
That,
माफ़ी मांगी
I
कि
wish you had stayed on. We could have done a lot together. But really, in my heart, there was nothing for her because I grew. Maybe if I hadn't moved, I wouldn't have grown. And so I thanked her. I said, no, because this happened, I moved on and I've grown. I'm more independent. I'm much stronger.
उस जगह में आपने
So
सेंटर
I think
खोलने
at
नहीं
every
दिया, तो
step,
उसके लिए मैं
when
धन्यवाद
there
करती हूँ।
does
मैं
seem to
दूसरी
be the
जगह गई
feeling
तो
of
और
loss,
भी अच्छे से सब हुआ, तो
there's
उसके
always
लिए
hope.
उनके लिए लगता माफ़ी मांग रही थी, लेकिन
That
दीदी ने
makes
बोला
me
कि नहीं,
feel
जो हुआ बहुत अच्छा हुआ, इसलिए मैं लुलु
my
लैब से
best
तो आप ही
friend.
कहूँगा मैं लुलु याद आ रहे हैं।
Like they've taught you something.
That's That's great, and I think that can be useful for everyone.
ये
And
सबके
when we are
लिए काम
preparing
की
this
चीज़
panel, we
है।
are talking about the importance of self-love, of loving the self first. And when we were talking about how you just accept going to another place, you just left that place and no problem, and you didn't keep any grudge, anything. I was feeling how much love you have to have for yourself so
आपको
that you
खुद के
don't
लिए
react
अपने
with
लिए कितना
like
प्यार
a basic instinct, of defending or protecting of everything.
हर
And I see in
निया
my life, my
सगारे
Brahmi
आलो वाने को
I think I had both
शाउने बहुत
situations.
वारे
I think I had situations where I tried to defend and fight, and other situations that
तुम
I
याने
just
जो
experienced a lot
फाइट में
of
फाइट
love
लो
and
से
I
हम लोग
just
यम से हम
experienced
लोग को
true
शाउलू
love.
या और
And I'd like you first, Enrique, to share with us a bit about that self-love, that experience of how
को
important it is for
चिट्टा
you
शबूत वाला
to
बाज ये
feel
चीले रे
the love for the self.
वो स्वयं को प्यार करने के लिए क्या
I
आवश्यक
think it's
चीजें
very
हैं
important. And I think Baba has taught me how to love myself.
बाबा
Giving
ते
me
पीले रे
his
बोलो को
love,
कुछ है हमने सुला रे
compassionate love. I remember when I started,
तो दरिया रे जब
well,
वो
something went wrong, I
शुरुआत में
made a
आई थी
mistake, and I sit in Baba's room.
तो बाबा खामा तो
I try to
ठाने
be
रे
very honest with Baba, and I was
बाबा
very
से
honest with
जाके
Baba.
बोला कि बाबा
And I
दादी
sat
से
in
बोला
Baba's room, myself alone. Say, Baba,
वो
this
अकेले
happened,
थे
this happened.
बाबा
And
ऐसा
suddenly
ऐसा
I
हुआ
felt
सब
so
बाबा
much
को
love, so much love. I
बाबा को
started to
बोल
cry.
रहे थे
And I say, stop,
बाबा
stop. I think you haven't not understood me. I made a mistake, so I repeat it. And again I was receiving so much love,
बहुत
so much
इनकी आंखों
love.
में आंसू आने
And I
लगा
thought,
इनको बहुत
well,
प्यार का अनुभव
this
हुआ
is the thing.
बाबा से
When I make a mistake, I don't need to
जब मैं
give pain
गलती
to
करूं
myself, but
तो
I need
अपने
to
आप को
give
दुख
love to
देने
myself, as Baba
दुख
does.
देने की ज़रूरत नहीं
So
अपने
then I
आप को
train
प्यार
myself.
करने की
And this is
ज़रूरत
for
है
me very important training. I repeat to myself always training. And I train
अपने आप को
myself
ट्रेन
to
को
be a
ट्रेन
good
पे
friend
बोलो
of
अटेर है
myself. So I can say now that inside myself I have this other voice who is the friend Enrique, and he's always very good with me. And I
तंगे
make a
चीन
mistake,
लोग
I
हैं
do something
तो
wrong, I
लंगा
say
रोने की
something,
अय्यां
oh,
काउंटर है
no, no, come on, let's go. Remember this
पीड़ा
point.
पीड़ा
Remember
बीजी
Baba.
जगाले उधर
Yes.
ही आना बाबा उधर ही
So
आसु
I
को
finish
शेट
this
टेम्पे
voice,
लाइटर
critical voice, or this other voice who is judgmental voice.
टाप
I work on
माने
that
टाप मारे
for a long
याई
time, and
मापियो
I
बने
create
को कुछ
a
टबार
voice which is a friendly voice. And
तंग
this voice is
दोस्त
like
जैसा बात करना
knowing me. No? So it's very nice to have this friend inside yourself and not the critical or the judge. And then you feel
जहाँ लोग
really
ने को लोग बन
comfortable
तंगे
because
जे लोग ने
it's
को
good to
वालों
have
मेरे
friends outside in Brahmin life also that say to you good things or help you. But also it's very important to have your own friendship. Be friend with yourself.
अपने आप से
And of
फ्रेंड
course with
जैसा
Baba.
भी रहना
But
है
I
बाहर में
think
तो फ्रेंड होती
the
है वो अलग
relationship
बात
with
है लेकिन
yourself
खुद
is very
खुद से खुद
important
अपने दोस्त जैसा
to
बात
create
करना है
it, to
खुद से
build it,
खुद
to train yourself
कोई बात नहीं
to be
आगे
your
बढ़ो
best
ऐसा
friend,
ऐसा कर
to love yourself, because this will impact in all other areas, and especially in the relationship with others. If
दूसरों
you
के
love
साथ
yourself,
संबंध
if
में
you are
भी
a good
जब
friend of
अगर
yourself,
आप
you can
खुद
be a
खुद
good
को
friend,
प्यार करते
compassionate,
हो
loving
और
with
खुद
others.
से दोस्त के
But
साथ
if you
रहते
treat
हो तो
yourself in
दूसरों
a
से
critical
भी
way or with judgment,
दूसरों से
this
भी
will
आप
come out from
वैसा
you.
ही आप व्यवहार करते हो दोस्त जैसा
That's
अगर
wonderful.
आपको
That's great.
खुद को खुद जज जैसा
You
रहते
probably
हो
know
तो
that Aruna Ben
दूसरों को
has
भी जज
wrote
जैसा
many
करोगे
books.
तुमने ऐसा
Enrique
किया
also
वैसा
wrote
किया
at least one, two, three.
हम अपने से दोस्त जैसा रहेंगे तो
And
दूसरों से भी दोस्त
and
जैसा
her books
रहेंगे
are talk basically about self-progress, no self-esteem. But I remember, I don't know if it was a class she gave or a workshop, but it was very nice the way she put about her own self-progress, how difficult it was to develop your self-esteem, and I think you really grow. I mean, you really overcame so many problems, so many
बहुत सारा
things.
प्रॉब्लम से
So
बातों
what
से आप
would
निकल
you
कर आए
say
हो
to someone, let's say someone goes to ask you, a Brahmin,
कोई
how do I
आके आपसे
develop my own self-esteem or self-love?
अपने आप से प्यार करना कैसे आप बढ़ाया है, दूसरों को आप कैसे बताएंगे?
I think first it's good to look at our role models. So of course Brahma Baba.
ब्रह्मा बाबा जो रोल मॉडल है हर तरह से मम्मा को, बाबा को,
court case she had.
कोर्ट केस चिढ़वा रहे, मम्मा आ रहे, बाबा ने मम्मा को कोर्ट में भेजा उस समय।
Young girls that were staying with
उसमें
Baba.
बहुत छोटी थी ना मम्मा।
Then Dadi Kumarka, Dadi Janki, all the daddies, I see them here, ancestor souls on the wall.
सभी एडवांस पार्टी वहाँ पर बैठी है ना
Yeah, I
पीछे
think
में,
I've
फोटो में
always
है।
said that I think Brahmin life is all about developing self-respect.
अपने आप
And we are at
स्वमान
different
से
spectrums of
वो
that.
होता है ब्राह्मण
There's
जीवन जो
ego
है,
at one end and then
स्वमान
there's
से वो चलता
absolute
है।
self-respect at the other, and we are somewhere oscillating between one and the other. And again, depends on the drama and the mood and the power in the soul and all of that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely crucial, this aspect of self-love, self-respect, because Enrique touched upon it, that really how I am with others is how I am with myself. How I treat others is how I treat myself. How
दूसरों
I
को मैं
love others is how
वैसे
I love
व्यवहार
myself.
करती हूँ, वैसे
Everything
अपने
is a
आप से व्यवहार
projection.
करती हूँ।
Perception is projection. So however I perceive things, that's how I'm going to project it out.
कैसे हम
And so
दूसरों
it's
को
just so
व्यवहार में लेते हैं,
important
वैसे
that
स्वयं
it's
को भी
not
लेते
just
हैं।
self-love, but
स्वयं से स्वयं प्यार ही
understanding
नहीं है,
real love, and that is
लेकिन सच्चा
God's
प्यार
love.
को समझना होता
I
है।
think that's the important thing. In the world they talk about loving yourself, which can
दुनिया में लोग
verge
बोलते हैं
on
खुद को
being
प्यार करना
arrogant.
है, लेकिन
But here, because Baba loves us,
बाबा मुझ हम लोगों को
right,
प्यार करते
that's
हैं।
absolutely pure love. We learn that quality, that type of love,
हम
and
लोग
that
जो
kind
है
of
इस तरह से
lovingness.
प्यार को
And many times Daddy Janki used to say this, that
बार बार दादी जान
when
की
somebody
बोलते
says, I
थे,
love you, Daddy,
दादी को
then
बोलते
Daddy
थे,
would
दादी
say,
हम आपको
because
बहुत प्यार
I love
करते,
Baba, you love me.
क्योंकि मैं बाबा को
So
प्यार
it's
करती
so
हूँ,
true,
इसलिए
there's
आप
so
मुझे
much
प्यार
depth in
करते हो। ये
that.
बहुत ही
Because we
सत्य
love
बात है,
God, others love us.
क्योंकि हम
It's
बाबा को
not that
प्यार
because we
करते
love
हैं
them. If we love them, we
तो लोग
become
हमें
trapped.
प्यार करते हैं।
But because we don't want anything from them, we just love Baba, we
हम
take
किसी
everything
से
from
कुछ
Baba.
नहीं चाहिए, हमें बस
And that's
बाबा
why
से
others
चाहिए,
can
इसलिए
feel
लोग हमें प्यार
love
करते
or
हैं।
comfort with us. So yeah, it's just so important to cultivate this relationship with
ये
Baba,
संबंध
where
बाबा के
you
साथ जो
feel that
संबंध
you're
है,
getting everything from Baba.
हमें हर चीज़
And
बाबा से लेना
any
है।
time I'm looking outside of that,
अगर हम
to
अगर
look
हम
for
बाहर
something
देखते
from
हो,
out there, there's bound to be sorrow. There's bound to be pain. So for me, yeah, I just
बाहर
have to
में तो
keep
बहुत सारा
reminding
दुख
myself
दर्द
of
की
these
है।
things. That Aruna, you know, do you want something? What did you want? If you felt some sorrow, what did you want? And each time it takes me deeper and deeper. It's not always about physical things. It's
चीज़ों
maybe
की बात नहीं,
emotional.
आपको क्या चाहिए, इमोशन से भी, मन से भी, मन को भी आपको क्या चाहिए, चीज़ों की बात नहीं है, जो भी है स्नेह प्यार जो भी है,
So it's just important to keep self-checking.
अपने आप को
So
चेकिंग
that
करने की
was
ज़रूरत है।
a lecture of self-esteem in 3 minutes, but it was great. I mean, really great, and I think we all
बहुत अच्छी
appreciate
बात है।
that we're sharing to everyone. And let's talk about God's love. I had an experience last year.
भगवान के
a
प्यार
really
को
bad
भी हम
experience,
देखें।
really bad. And I don't go into details because it would take a long time.
हम डिटेल में नहीं
But
जाएंगे क्योंकि
so
बहुत
3
समय लग
days, 3
जाएगा।
different days. So the third day I said, no way, not anymore. And that day was a Sunday, Avyakti Murli, and the Murli was so powerful, so full of love. It was so much love.
अव्यक्त मुरली के
And I
उस
felt
दिन
I was
का
merged in
अव्यक्त मुरली
Baba's love.
बहुत
It was like
बहुत
total
प्यार
Murli.
का मुरली था।
And the
वो
whole
बाबा के
day I
प्यार में
felt
वो
I was merged in Baba's love.
बाबा के
I
प्यार में वो
was
खो
sure
गए थे।
everything was going to be right. It was such a certainty. And eventually everything went right. That day everything was fine. But the love of Baba, I really missed that day.
बाबा का प्यार
I
को
don't
वो
want
जो
to
है
go through troubles to experience God's love. But as we talked the other day, love and suffering are so much in connection, especially the Lokika world.
love प्यार का जब नई connection
How
शी
do
ने
you
रहे
experience God's love without suffering, without having a problem,
बाबा problem में शी
without
बने बाबा दुखा मखाया
looking
बने
at
तो
whatever
बाबा
is
ये प्यार को
spoken there
अनुभव
and
नुया ले
no,
रहे
not this. So how much do you, how can you experience that love from God without all the suffering, all the problem, all the drama?
Well, I think everybody has a different experience, but
नुराई
for
नुराई
me,
आपको
when
हने
I
को अनुभव
started
शी
in
चाह
Gyan,
रहे तो ज्ञान मसाला रोआ रहे
I was attracted because of Baba's love.
बाबा ये प्यार के कारण आकर्षण में आई रहे
I've never cried in my life before coming to Gyan. Never, not even one. Many things
ज्ञान में
happened.
आने
I
से
was
पहले
divorced,
कभी भी इनको रोना
separated.
नहीं आता था
My wife went with another person.
इनकी
Not
पत्नी
one.
ने दूसरी
Even I
शादी
tried to
किया
cry.
उन्होंने रोने की भी कोशिश की इनकी पत्नी दूसरे
Completely
लेकिन
dry.
कभी भी मुझे रोना नहीं आया इनकी पत्नी भी शादी करके
And then
दूसरे
when
के
I
साथ
came
चली
to
गई
Baba,
मैं कोशिश किया रो लेकिन
I
रोना
don't know what
आया ही
happened.
नहीं
But suddenly it's like a door was open and tears, but it was not tear, it was like, no, booze. And I said to the sister who was giving Drishti, don't worry, I'm happy and I'm okay. But I don't know what is happening, but it's
जो
something
बहन दृष्टि
happening.
दे रही थी इतना
Because she
उनकी
was
आंखों में
worried, what is
आंसू
happening
आ
to
रहा
this
था
brother?
ये भाई बोले थे मुझे कुछ नहीं हुआ है मैं
So
एकदम
for a
ठीक
few
हूँ
months,
पता
every
नहीं
time
मुझे
that
क्या हो रहा है
I
आंखों में
received
से आंसू
Drishti,
निकल रहा है
the tears were flowing, you know, like the Ganges.
आंखों के आंसू
It
एकदम
was a
गंगा
feeling of
जैसा
love,
निकल रही थी
constant love. So I didn't understood so much the knowledge,
उस
but
समय
the
ज्ञान को
experience
अच्छे
was
से अनुभव
beautiful.
नहीं था लेकिन
I received this energy, so
यही
beautiful,
एनर्जी को तो याद
that
दे रहे
I try to all the time to remember this, to remind myself Baba's love. And now I see that Baba is
अपने
taking
उस
care
प्यार
of
को
me.
बार बार मैं याद
I
दिलाता
see
हूँ
in the physical world Baba's love. For example, to be here.
यहाँ
Be
पर
here
मैं
is
अभी हूँ
all that we are able to not to enjoy. This is Baba's love.
यहाँ पर हम लोग
You
सब
said
बातों
in
का
retreat,
एंजॉय
this is
कर रही
Baba's
है
love.
ये सब बाबा की प्यार
Every day
है
we have nice food, even if it is very
ये
simple.
सब बाबा
It's
की
Baba's love.
बाबा के
So
इतना अच्छा
you
अच्छा
relate
भोजन होता है ये
everything
भी बाबा
that
का प्यार ही है
you receive with Baba, which is not something that you create. It's a reality, and you don't forget this reality. Then you experience
ये
constantly
सत्यता को भूलना
Baba's
नहीं
care,
चाहिए बाबा
Baba's
हम लोगों
love,
को ध्यान देती
Baba's
है
protection.
बाबा का
Sometimes I think
सौशमुया
He
है
has given me such a beautiful life. In
बाबा ने
every
हम
aspect,
लोगों को
professionally,
हमें इतना
even
अच्छा
physically, I
जीवन
feel
दिया
much
है
better than when I was young.
पहले से भी
Good
मैं
company. So I only
पहले से भी मैं
have this
अच्छा
feeling of
अभी रहता हूँ जब मैं यंग एज में था उससे भी
gratefulness
अच्छा रहता
to
हूँ
Baba. So
बाबा
I
मैं
don't
चीज़ उठने रहे
look for the love when I'm suffering, in a sense. I have to deal also with my suffering, I think. This is the thing. I feel, experience Baba's love, but sometimes
तो
it's like
एक्सपीरियंस लगते
Baba
रहे बाबा ये प्यार हो
said to
रहा
me, it's not words, no, but it's like, now you solve this problem. I will see how you manage. And then I feel a little bit alone. Oh, it happened several times. I feel alone. I say, oh,
टकाले
where
तो
you are?
चिट्टे या टकाले को गोटी उठा लो
So I
खाजा
have to
रख
deal
फिर
with the situation. And
मैं
then
वो
again,
परिस्थिति री ला रहे टप में और बाबा
So
कन्या बीमार है
again, it's
सो
a training.
मेरे रहे
If we want to become strong in this life,
इस
we
जीवन हमारा
need to
स्ट्रॉन्ग से
accept
चलना
to
शुरू
go to
शेरे
to the boxing. We need to go there and to box with Maya. It's not, he is the trainer. He will not
माया
go
ने
there.
बक्से
He
लो
said,
बारे
I
को प्यो
train you,
चाहिए
now
बाबा रो
go
ट्रेनिंग पीरियड लूरे को
and
माया ने
fight
तो आप लो फाइट लो
and
बारे
conquer Maya.
माया
So
से युद्ध
we
करना
need
है रे
to accept this training and accept
बाबा
sometimes
यदि
that Maya
ट्रेनिंग
also
को लखा
gives
मेरे
you sometimes no back. So, but always is there, Baba.
बाबा मेरी
Giving
मशीन
you
रहे रे
encouragement
बाबा
or
हिम्मत
giving
भी
you
रहे रे
hope or giving you
म्योलिन छटे
protection.
पीरा बोनो संशा
So
मुरे
this
पीरे
is my experience.
दातु ये
also.
अनुभव छटे रे
So I'd like to ask also Aruna then what's her experience of Baba's love. But first of all, in a few minutes we are going to open for questions and answers. So
and then the question
if you
answer
have any
to your me
questions,
solution me lu ya
the
ba
panel
re
in general to someone in specific, you can ask. Okay, so those who speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Hindi, you can come and say in your own language we can understand, but the other language you have
Hindi
to
lu
bring
pyo
and
che
translate
darai la
again.
Hindi lu pyo lu ya re re
Okay, so that's
arna
nice.
de yo mi che no she.
Aruna Ben.
So yeah, I feel very blessed that
अपने को बहुत वरदानी अनुभव करती हूँ बाबा से मीटिंग का भी.
my first meeting was Baba in meditation hall.
मेडिटेशन हॉल में बाबा ने जो पहला मीटिंग से टेरे पांडवन मेडिटेशन हॉल में.
And all those blessings, and then
ओम शांति
there was
भवन
a
जब बाबा
time,
ने
there were
प्रेयर
several
है
times actually, but
बहुत
a few
बार
times when I had some Maya, and Baba knew that she needs a bit of extra attention, and so when we taking drishti,
बाबा
just
धीरे
drishti,
रहते
and
हुए
a
आना
couple
रहे
of times he called me forward.
अधिक ध्यान देने की जरूरत है इस
So there's
आत्मा
all
को बाबा
those
ने ठहराई
memories.
टेरे.
I'm not trying to make you jealous, but just all those memories help.
It didn't work. You made us jealous a little bit. But good jealousy, good jealousy.
But all those memories kind of help to, make you feel good. But what I want to
दिखाने
share
चलन
with the
सी
new
लैब
ones
से
maybe
टेरे
that have just come
तो
is
यार वो नंगा में यहाँ
Baba
वाले में
now speaks to me through the murlis. So we're all at that same stage now.
सेम स्टेज पर मां आलोंग शीने रे पुदुमा स्पेशल बाबा मशे आलोंग स्टेज तो खुदा मशीने रे बाबा अपवाने आलोंग तो डूबे ने रे.
So for me, yeah, Baba talks through the murlis, and particularly
मेरे लिए भी वही मुरली, आपके लिए भी, सबके लिए वही मुरली है, साकार हो या
I really
अव्यक्त हो.
look out for what is in the murli for me today.
आज मेरे लिए मुरली में क्या है वो ढूंढती है.
In those few minutes before the meditation, and I say, okay, Baba, what are you going to tell me today?
आज मेरे लिए क्या कहा मैं बाबा से बात करती हूँ.
Something just kind of clicks for me. So it's not that
मुरली
I'm
सुन
looking
के
out
फिर
for that's my
फिर मेरे लिए
problem,
क्या
what's the
कहा.
answer. No, just listen calmly, and then something will strike, and then you say, okay, that's.
बाबा का मुरली सुनती हूँ और उसमें से हाँ आज मेरे लिए बाबा ने क्या कहा वो लेते. मेरा प्रॉब्लम क्या है उसका समाधान क्या है वो सब मैं नहीं देखती. मेरे लिए आज बाबा ने क्या कहा वो मैं मुरली में ढूंढ लेती हूँ रोज के रोज.
I think 8 souls, and one brother Baba didn't even give drishti, no, nothing to that soul. But I just received one, and that one I carry I take care of that, and it's wonderful. But nowadays it's the movies, and what you say, we are all in the same level now, and it's very
हम
important
सभी जो
to
है
have
सेम
that
लेवल पर
experience
है.
through the Murli. So, any final words before opening? Okay, living with others. So Aruna Ben is wanting another topic that we were talking yesterday about how to create loving relationships.
कैसे स्नेह भरा संबंध को कायम रखना है.
Sometimes Baba puts us with the wrong person. Okay.
कभी कभी लगता है बाबा ने मुझे गलत आदमी के साथ रख दिया है.
Was mentioning that means you have to learn many qualities. Many qualities you have to develop. Many qualities in yourself.
अपने आप में बहुत सारी विशेषताएं.
Challenge, I think. Every day is a challenge of how to love others.
कैसे अपने आप को कैसे दूसरों को प्यार करना, एक दूसरे को कैसे प्यार करना है. दूसरे ब्राह्मणों के साथ में जब रहते हैं.
When someone starts to do noises during the night, you understand that. And you want to sleep, you can't.
सोना चाहते हो, सोने को नहीं मिलता है. ऐसी परिस्थिति में भी.
I remember I stayed with Enrique once in the same bedroom, and he used to come whistling. He's a professional whistler. Yeah, he's very good. But you are there sleeping, and then.
एक आत्मा के साथ वो रूम में थे और वो कोई जो है वीसी मंगटा बोलो न्याय जरूर से इटाची में वीसी टाइम मंगटे.
Still, I felt that love. So, how? That's the question. How to make things work? When you live with other people, when we're working with other people.
दुनिया ने अगलोटे अच्छे मारे.
There are situations that.
कैसे परिस्थितियाँ आती है. एक लोग चिड़ा मची छेउरे. Well, I think
it has been a process of more than 30 years. So it was not the same at the beginning that now. But I can say that now I've learned that every soul is different. So it's a very basic point, but it's very deep. Every soul has its own part, and you can learn from every soul. Every soul has its different way of eating, cooking, thinking, behaving. And before it was the ones who were more close to me or more similar, I enjoy with them, and the others I was, But now I think, let me learn to understand things in a different way. Let me see things how the other person sees them. Let me understand why he or she loves this and not that. So it's more, I've developed like curiosity instead of judging the other. So now it's much more easy because I can develop love for the soul even if it is very different. And I realized in the last few months that at the beginning I had many times the thought, Baba puts me with souls that I would never will live before Gyan, I will never choose to live with them. Not so different. I had the thought this. But now something has changed. I'm with the best souls. They are wonderful. It's like I've changed. It's not because they are different. It's because I've created this thought in my mind. If they are there, they are the perfect souls to be with me. And then I realized if I have these thoughts, the first who is benefited is myself. Because I have these thoughts for myself. And then they go to the others. So it was a realization of, well, I can think whatever, but it's affecting me. So I will think the best about others also.
दूसरों के लिए सबसे अच्छा सोचने से मेरे लिए अच्छा है। तो ये संबंधों में ये ज़रूरी है कि उनके लिए अच्छा सोचने से अपने मन में भी अच्छा रहता है।
The drama is created perfectly.
ड्रामा जो है बहुत अच्छा परफेक्ट बना हुआ है, सभी लखानार है।
No.
Translation is a bit delayed, yeah. So this is what I try to keep in my mind now, that if drama is created
ड्रामा जो है परफेक्टली बना हुआ है,
where I need to be, and that perfect setting is created especially for me to become perfect.
ड्रामा जो है मेरे लिए परफेक्ट बनने के लिए परफेक्ट बना हुआ है, मुझे परफेक्ट बनाने के लिए वो बना हुआ है ड्रामा। अभी ऑक्सफोर्ड रिट्रीट सेंटर में वो रहते ही हैं, 30 जने लोग हैं, अलग अलग धर्म जाति वाले लोग हैं।
And yeah, you can think like Enrique saying that your way is the right way, you know better, or you have more experience.
आपको और अच्छा है, वो कैसा हर एक का अलग अलग है।
Right, what matters is how you have to get on with each other. And so yeah, again my experience has been that
तो ये एक्सपीरियंस का अकुटला वाले सुरो।
Listen, like nobody wants to hear Gyan, nobody wants correction.
बदुमा ज्ञान गुला नाम ठाउने छ, बदुमा अमा पिना वाला मचाइटो उरे प्यार बलु छेंचा रे।
Love can mean just being quiet.
शांति ने ने भी रिस्पेक्ट पे भी रावे दुरे लो छेंचा रे।
Love has many different definitions as well.
Love का different definition तब थारे मतुरो उरे प्यार की परिभाषा बदल चतवारे रे।
There's no alternative to love. It's either love or more love. That's it.
प्यार नो not a प्यार शिव नो अटेरे।
I think that's wonderful, and so I would like to see if anybody here has a question. Rajesh Bhai is there with the mic.
Rajesh Bhai, mic jubilar shine re
Say briefly your name and also country, so people know. And English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Hindi. You can come and say in your own language. The others you have to bring a translator.
Om Shanti everyone. My name is B.K. Vasu. I'm from Milpitas, California.
कैलिफोर्निया से है वो
from 2011 onwards.
2017 ज्ञानमाला
The
ठारे रे
question is, how do you explain the paradox of being less forgiving of others when you are not in Gyan or when you are in the initial years of Brahman life, and then becoming less forgiving of yourself and more forgiving of others as you progress in Brahman life?
ज्ञानमाला की न ज्ञान या शुरुआत अच्छी मारे
The second part of the question is how guilt sometimes becomes an obstacle in the progress of Brahman's life, and what's the best way to overcome it?
Now shati Brahman bawa ma bajmala re अच्छी माँ बोलो अड़ा ने चौथा मारे
If you can summarize in 3 or 4 words.
Is your question how to be more forgiving?
Yeah, I mean, when you're not in Gyan or when you're in the initial years of Gyan, you're less forgiving of others. But as you progress in your Brahman life, you're less forgiving upon yourself and more forgiving of others.
So you forgive others more than yourself.
And that's a paradox, and how do you explain that? And what's the best way to overcome that?
दूसरों को स्वयं से ज़्यादा कैसे माफ करे
something that like Brahmins, how do they overcome?
Because Enrique talked about something.
Well, I think this is very personal. Each one has its own background also.
हर एक का अपना अपना विचारधारा है अलग अलग बैकग्राउंड शिरा बनो
My
आइए
experience is that if you
मेरा
are honest
अनुभव
with
जो है
Baba
अगर बाबा
and
के
with
साथ
his
ऑनेस्ट हो
friends,
ईमानदार
then
से
you
हो तो
express yourself whatever has happened. Always I have not only myself but I've translated to other brothers and sisters. And you always
सिर्फ मेरे
receive
लिए
this
नहीं मैं सभी भाई
compassionate
बहनों
attitude,
के
this
लिए
loving attitude to move
चिना
forward.
से या शिरे
So
अलीट
manage
हाशिया
to
मेरे
overcome our
चिंदारी राशिया
subtle
में
ego,
चिना
no?
डे
That
हाशिया मेरे
sometimes you make a mistake and you don't want to say and then you feel guilty and there's a lot of things happening inside. But if you open yourself and you say, okay, Baba, this has happened, and
बाबा के साथ हम
I
ऊपर
want to
रह के बोले
continue to move
बाबा
forward.
बाबा मुझे
I
आगे
remember
बढ़ना
one more
चाहते
real
तो
Baba,
खाने को
he
माँ
said,
द्वारे पीम उपयोग उस
just
गिल्टी
take
से
1
द्वारे
second
रे
to learn something from the
पश्चाताप होता
situation,
है
don't repeat it,
बाबा
and
को बोल देना है
continue
रे
to move forward. No? So I pick up this point. And I felt that the feeling guilty doesn't help you to move forward. So it's
ये
also a
गिल्टी
very
जो
rational thought,
पश्चाताप से
no?
टारा को
This
वो
doesn't
अशुद्ध
help
वो
me,
तो
so
कुनी
I
पे
don't
रे
have to think about this. So it's again a training.
को ट्रेनिंग
And
पे
we
रे
make
रे
mistakes.
को
And
लुरिया
I think
मारा पे रे
I don't know the daddies, sometimes they say they were almost perfect from the beginning, but I cannot say the same for me. So through mistakes, I
गलतियों
observe
के
in
द्वारा
myself
ही
that
रे
I have learned a lot of patience with myself, lot
को
of
न को
patience,
न्याय धैर्य से
so
द्वारे
that I
रे
had more patience with others, lot of compassion with myself,
अपने
so I had
आप
more
से
compassion with
धैर्य
others.
बढ़ जाता है अपने
So
आप
in
में
fact,
चिनाटिया बढ़ जाता है दूसरों से भी हम
it's a
धैर्य रख
feeling of
सकते हैं दूसरों पर भी और भी
progressing. It doesn't mean
स्नेह
that you have to
प्यार
make mistakes for that, but
चिनाटिया
you
ठाड़ू
learn
या
from
रे
that, no? And sometimes when someone does something and some kind of correction comes inside myself and I say, stop, what have you done? Okay, remember this, remember you something similar, okay, so be compassionate. And I think
कुकुले
this
लोग
could be
मांगे रे
a
सो
way
बिरो
of
को नाले बिरो
forgiving yourself.
को
Baba
फॉरगिव
forgives you,
लोग लाइटे
the seniors forgive you, so
लुचिरे
why
ले
not
फॉरगिव
forgive
लाइटे
yourself?
सो अलो को ले फॉरगिव लोग ले बारे माफ लोग ले बारे
So yeah, Enrique answered it nicely. I will just maybe add that I think when we come into Gyan, I think we're more forgiving of others because
ज्ञान
we
माला रे
realize
अच्छी
that
मकुआ
they
तुनिया
didn't
हो ना
know
ठे
any
माफ लोग
better,
या रे
but I did. And I should have known better, and I should have done better, and I should have behaved better. So
मेरा और
we're
अच्छा
less
होता है
forgiving
मेरा
of
बिहेवियर
ourselves
और अच्छा है
because they don't know. We say, okay, I'll let you go. And then regarding guilt, many years ago, in the
बहुत
80s,
साल
there was
पहले
one
की बात है
Brahmin who
ठाकुर
said
अच्छे
to
से
me
रुआरे
that
ब्राह्मण या तू ना
guilty
प्योरे
is a tea that we shouldn't drink.
गिल्टी या जरा
And
वो चाय है जो हमें नहीं पीना चाहिए रे
guilty is a tea that we shouldn't drink.
गिल्टी जो
And
है वो
Baba's
एक
made
चाय है
reference to
गिल्टी
that in the
टी मतलब वो
Murlis, that,
चाय जो हमें
okay,
नहीं पीना
learn the
चाहिए
lesson. It might be an expensive lesson, but you don't have to get guilty for
गिल्टी
it.
मतलब
Just
कि
learn
क्या
the
है कि
lesson and focus on
मैंने
its
क्यों
message.
ऐसा किया, क्यों ऐसा किया, अपने आप को पश्चाताप में
That's great.
रहना,
I can share an experience.
अपने
I
आप
think
को
it's the
कोसना,
opposite.
ये
I made a
हुआ,
big
क्यों ऐसा
mistake
हुआ,
with
कोसना.
one soul. We're sleeping in the same room, and I locked the room. And I didn't hear him. I won't say names, but he's here. And it was interesting because I locked the room. So when I wake up for a Meritivela, his bed was there, and what happened to him? Then I realized I locked the room, and I didn't hear his knock and all of that.
इन्होंने
His
कमरे को लॉक
attitude
कर दिया था, वो
was,
दरवाज़ा बजा रही थी, इनको
wow,
सुनाई नहीं दे दिया
excellent,
था. फिर
Dharna. Number one. And so I felt lots of guilt at that point. You know, what did I do? Oh my God. But his attitude was not forgiving in the sense that, oh, I forgive you.
उनका स्वभाव ऐसा नहीं था कि मैं
But
उनको
it
माफ़
was
कर सकूं,
natural.
कुछ ऐसा
And
उस
that
समय था.
naturality made me forgive myself, made me go on. I don't know if he mentioned that story to other people, maybe. But it was wonderful for me. What that forgiveness, the effect of that forgiveness on the self. So maybe when we forgive others, also that creates something on that soul. So we can have chocolate now. All the clocks, they say something. We continue to travel. So any more questions?
Yeah, so I will ask you a question further to what he has asked, that when we talk about the word guilt, since we are all on a spiritual journey, we do an act, immoral act. When you do an immoral act, because we know the moral conduct, the morality we know, the code of conduct, when we have violated that, then the emotion kicks in of guilt and shame and what have you not.
कोट खाने को माँ बालों से शल्ले गिट ले बचते आश्चर्य बचते हैं.
Don't feel guilty, but that's the result of the karma that one does. Can you reconcile this for me, what I just shared about this aspect, that it is the immoral act that we do, and the result of that is guilt and shame and what other combinations and permutations. But the answer that you all give is that don't feel guilty, it's just the tea, and we brush it on the carpet, it's okay, forget it. But this comes to how do you reconcile that?
Thanks, Nadesh. Okay, so when we do a bad deed, there is a sense, there is a realization, there is an awareness,
ये जो है स्मृति है, रियलाइजेशन है,
and that's
को कुतरिना नहीं रहा वो ना,
our moral and immoral weighing against each other. Guilt is something that comes much after that. Guilt is not the instantaneous response.
guilt का
And
जरूर
so
से
then
वो
if we
बोला
are
रहे
brooding
या महो
in
बोले,
guilt, that's wrong, I think. And Baba says that. So it's enough that I realize that, yeah, what I did was not right. I locked the door. Or
मैंने
whatever, I
दरवाज़ा
spoke
बंद कर
badly or
दिया,
whatever.
मैंने गलती
That's a
किया, ये
realization, that's
रियलाइजेशन
great.
ये
And
अच्छा
I
है,
learn
ज़रूरी
from
है.
that. But if I then keep thinking about
उसी
it,
को बारे में सोच सोच के
that's
सोच
when
के
you say you're guilty,
ये गिल्टी जो
guilt
है,
feelings and
हीन भावना,
brew
हीन
more
भावना, गिल्ट
inside,
फीलिंग,
and then
पश्चाताप की भावना.
other issues, other problems. I'll give you an example. So we did a
एग्जाम्पल
program
दे
in
रही है,
Oxford.
ऑक्सफोर्ड में एक प्रोग्राम
And,
चल रहा था.
We didn't even send it out to our database. It was just featured on the website, and it's about trauma and some other word, right? Not guilt, but trauma and these kinds of issues. And 120 people signed up. And normally, you know, we have 30, 40 sign up, then we send out the database, mailing to the database. So this stuff just weighs a lot on the soul, and that is what doesn't help. So I think we have to do away with the guilt part. Realization, okay. Awareness, okay. But then
So that's fine, okay. Enrique also.
Just to add, because it was beautiful what Aruna said, but I think also honesty is very important, not to justify
honesty,
or to make excuses, but be really honest with
ईमानदार
yourself
बनो,
and with Baba.
अपने आप
This
से
has
ईमानदार,
happened,
बाबा से
and I will
ईमानदार.
put attention to that.
बाबा
And this
ये
feeling
हुआ,
of
मैं
wanting to
attention
learn
रखूंगा अपने
and to
ऊपर.
put attention, this realization, at the beginning, even you can feel some experience inside yourself, no? Not feeling well. But if you accept this with honesty and you want to move forward, then no need for more thoughts or guilt, because it's not useful. So I think we have to be very practical. What is useful, what is not useful, and then continue to move forward.
Any last question? Last chance. There, Natalia. Oh, the other sister. Okay. There are two last questions. Okay.
Yeah, so there are two questions, two-part questions. It says, can you share your experiences from for new students, the ways to remember BB, it means Brahma Baba perhaps, or Baba. Second is how to share knowledge to others, in the bracket, the ones who do not know knowledge.
जो ज्ञान में नहीं आते उनको कैसे ज्ञान सुनाते हो?
Can you share your experiences
तो यह experience
the way to remember
बाबा उधरिया वो बाबा उधरिया वो तो बनो share लुम ले रहे ज्ञान में मशीन लुम जरा बोलो ज्ञान की मिले
love, it's a little bit out of, but maybe a short gesture. How much love, and then Natalia can.
My way of doing, or my experience, is that if you have a good friend and you talk to another person of your good friend and you explain about your good friend, the other person gets interest. Oh, it's interesting. I want to know your friend. So when I always give the course, or I try to introduce Baba in different settings or whatever, I always think, Baba, I will introduce you as my good friend. So I position myself, I will introduce Baba as my best friend. And this creates interest in others. But you have to chant this, you have to feel this. Baba is really my good friend, and I express these feelings and whatever Baba is giving me. And with people who has no knowledge, I think I'm involved in many programs outside Brahma Kumaris. And I feel that it's our life, it's our way of being, it's our values, it's our behavior, it's our style of living that is showing knowledge and Baba. It's not so much what we speak. So I think we have to check ourselves and see how I want to behave in this context, and how I want to express some principles or values of spirituality. And people realize that you have something different. And then the ones who have interest, they will ask you. But I don't usually talk too much. I just behave. And I say, for example, I go to sleep early because sometimes I have to be outside. Because I wake up early in the morning for meditation. You meditate? So I say something so that I create interest in others. And the ones who have interest, they will ask.
Maybe Natalia? Mike? Yeah, micrófono.
Ustedes me Gracias. Me pareció interesante lo que el hermano Enrique comentó, que cuando al principio de su vida Brahmin,
It's very interesting what Enrique was saying about his Brahmin life at the beginning.
él sentía un torrente de emociones que no incontrolable y lloraba mucho.
He felt a stream of emotions that were uncontrollable, and he used to cry a lot.
Yo quería saber si esto me está pasando a mí.
So this is happening to me, so I'd like to know something.
Y la familia Brahmin queda muy preocupada, ¿no? Porque se preocupan porque se preguntan qué le está pasando a mi hermana.
They get concerned, no? What's going on with the sister?
Yo me doy cuenta de que esto es normal en Madhuban porque se revuelven muchas cosas.
I think it's normal. That's what I realize.
Y también me he dado cuenta de que esto es real, lo siento así. Siento que podemos, aquí mismo, podemos tener bendiciones de nuestros hermanos, de nuestra familia, pero también podemos sentir maldiciones de nuestra familia si cometemos pequeños errores.
I do feel that sometimes in our Brahmin family we receive blessings, but sometimes curse.
Y siento que puede ser multiplicado, o sea, que las bendiciones se pueden sentir de manera multiplicada, pero que las maldiciones por tus pequeños errores también se pueden sentir de manera multiplicada.
And both can be multiplied, can be in a proportional, no? Many times in terms of even a small error.
Puedo identificar, y seguro a los que vienen, a los nuevos, yo es la segunda vez que estoy aquí, después de mucho tiempo, y puedo identificar que, bueno, hay un poco de mal manejo de emociones.
So I can identify there is a bad management in terms of emotions.
Tú nos puedes dar, ustedes dos podrían
Can
darnos
you or you both
yuktis,
some
consejos
yukti
para
or advices
manejar mejor nuestras emociones?
to
Es como
handle
que
our emotions better?
Maybe
We can stay with that because
para sentirnos mejor con nosotros
to
mismos.
feel better,
Es como que en realidad para que no te afecte tanto,
so that those bad emotions
lo
don't
que-
affect you too much.
que no te afecte
दूसरों
tanto
का
lo que los
दूसरों का
demás te
गलत
digan o
इमोशन जो है
Others
उनके ऊपर
think
प्रभाव
or
नहीं
say.
पड़े.
sino que logres esa como fuerza de sentirte bien contigo mismo.
I want that strength to feel good with myself.
अपने आप से अच्छा अनुभव करना
So
चाहती है.
we have a very short time because Vijay is standing there. He's our policeman in terms of watch. So he's already telling us time is almost over. But maybe Aruna Ben can share now.
Yeah, well, this is the journey.
ता
Maybe
बवा
she could
खई
say
से
it.
मेरे.
So this is the journey. This is the work that we,
दा
on a
लो
day
बेरे.
by day basis, we are strengthening the soul. It's
Det
not
är
going
det
to
här
happen
går
overnight.
när strand
literally
ashila
like a
det
tree
det är
that's
det här
growing.
bava खई से मेरे.
And at first it's needs protection, right? The sapling, the stem, the
पेड़
leaves.
एक पेड़ बड़ा होने
They
के
need
लिए जब से
protection, and then
फूलों
when it
चोहू पे आ
learns to
रहे
stand up by itself, it's strong, it's
तो जब
firm.
से वे चिल्ला रहे तो स्ट्रॉन्ग से
So
आउट है
just
अलो बेरे.
in essence, I would say just try and face those feelings. I've done this a lot, where if there has been some bad feeling, negative feeling, I just sit there. I don't run from
bad
it.
feeling shire
And
negative
then
feelings
I
shire
just
kutrap
see the
chezi
worst
amalo
of it
gure.
in my mind. And you kind of get through it, because mostly it is our imagination, imagination, and it has a hold over us. So if I crack it by just sitting with it, feeling it, even if it's painful, even if you feel like crying, feel like shouting, just do it. But then it will lapse, it will pass. And then you will have
Go
felt
ore
that you
pure dale
conquered that
pass chito me.
feeling. But don't run from it in the sense of
Youth
don't try
youth
and
वो
avoid it,
feeling
don't try
रे youth
and
malo kan
get
रे.
into some action, phone somebody. It's just going to come up again later. So as much as possible, try and do that in the comfort of your space. If you can't, it's okay, but as much as you can, try.
Good na de la polo to amere.
So, okay, first I would like to thank you. Enrique also has something to say.
30 seconds. Just to add something. My experience is that I had these feelings the first year, and also feelings of sadness that I
थोड़े
had
साल
never had
पहले रे
before.
तुम ये अनुभव शी
really,
करे रे.
what's this? For 1 year.
दबाव से तो आले
1
टन्ने
year all the
टन्ने
time,
तुम
sadness.
अंदर में बहुत
It was
गहराई
inside
से
the
ये क्या
soul.
हो गया ये कैसे.
So my experience was that I was putting attention to experience deep peace,
बहुत
peace.
अंदर गहरा में
Wow,
गहरा
deep,
शांति
deep.
गहरा
So
शांति में अंदर
this
जा रहा
deep
था
peace was cleaning a lot of these emotions.
बहुत
And
अंदर
then,
गहराई में
as
जाते
Aruna
जाते
said,
अंदर
it's a
से
journey.
बहुत
It's a
साफ
journey
होता
that
गया
you
रे.
have to observe yourself and deal with yourself all
को
the
को
time.
चिनिया
Still
में
I'm
अच्छा
dealing,
माँ को
but
चिनिया
now I
में
know
डॉक्टर चिनिया
how
में
they come, how they start, and I can change them very quickly and not at the end of the spectrum. So it's a journey. So have patience with yourself.
ना को
So
को
thank you
आखिरी
very
से मेरे
much.
कुटारी में
That
धैर्य चिनिया
answered the
मेरे.
question, and let's clap to Aruna Ben and Enrique Bai.
Hello.
It was excellent to have them, to have sharing this moment of love with everyone. And please share
जिसने
whatever
प्यार
you
का
take
वो सब अनुभव
them
शेयर
to
किया
others,
उन्होंने
okay?
सभी को
In
शेयर
your
किया.
countries or even here who couldn't come today. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Additional thank you to this such a open-hearted, mature, and a very healing and a honest dialogue. And I'm sure, very soon you all will
बहुत
be
जल्दी ही
sitting
रे.
on this, and there'll be a new batch here. Om Shanti.
निरूठे आने ते यावर एक मोमेंट टाइम वीडियो रे
And
अलग
there is
टाइम
also
स्टेज
a
में अनुभव जो
announcement
मेरे
that
डिपियन
this
बेच रे.
evening there will be from 5 to 6 living libraries in the training center.
गाना
So
खोया ने
there
चाउ
will
ने
be
ट्रेनिंग
different
सेंटर में.
rooms, and which book you have selected, you will go to the respective room. In the training section, it's 1, 3, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. And from 6 to 7:30, there will be a meditation in Harmony Hall. Om Shanti.
I'll be in you. The river flows back to the ocean. The trees turn back to dust. The sun must set as the day it ends, and so shall all of us. The gift of silence is returned to each one soul by soul. I know you hold it in your heart as you watch your life unfold. So go to the sea, flow to the ocean, fly like a bird to his arms. Take all the love of